I
want that one.
I got a present for you. Can't because it's tuned into me now.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I talk into that one, it just doesn't go through. You can't hear it.
I don't know. I do the questions, but it's a very good point. I'm going to take you down. If you're wondering where we're going.
Or if we change, I do the questions.
Yeah, you can do
That's
that.
the answer,
well,
Mike.
Halfway through, that's the answer, Mike.
Okay.
That's the magic one.
Yeah.
We're going to the world-famous Skypad. And when we get down there, it's at the scary end of the paddock. You probably haven't been down there since your Toro Rosso days.
Well, I have. I still have some friends there. So.
Of course. And when you see it, you'll realise why I can't bring it to you. So, let's start talking. Well, let's not waste valuable seconds, because I know you're a busy man. You've dominated this place. You've won this race the last 3 years. You were 2 seconds a lap faster than the rest of the field at points last year. What's the secret of going around here quickly?
Don't crash. I don't know if there's a real secret. I really enjoy this track. It's, I think it's the most challenging event of the season because of, the conditions. It's a night race. It's a different sort of concentration with artificial light, it's a different focus. Then obviously it's very hot. It gets very hot inside the cars. There's hardly any rest, no straights, and even the straights we have, they are very bumpy. The track itself is very rough, very bumpy. So and it's a street circuit, so you have to focus a lot, not to put it in the wall, not to stuff it in the wall, and keep it on line. Because outside the racing line is very slippery, and so it's likely to do mistakes, and all that obviously makes you focus very, very, very much, which I think you understand when people talk about a normal track and then Monaco. Yeah. If you compare to your days, it was just different. Even though the speed is lower, the forces are lower, but then it's very bumpy and your whole body is alive, and you have to focus because there's no room for error, and that's what I think makes it very difficult here. Secret. I don't think there's a real secret, but if you get to a stage, that's at least how I feel, where you have the feeling that I don't care, I just go as fast as I can, and you make the car go as fast as you want, then I think that's maybe you could be seen as a secret. That's a big screen.
I told you why I couldn't bring it to you. By the way, the answer mic's working really well.
Sorry, it was a long answer.
It's a really good answer. Yeah. So what you're saying then is rather than technique, rather than apex speed or braking, it's about concentration. That's where you're so strong around here.
Yeah, and I think you need to commit. It's always a lot about feeling on street circuits, and once you commit, you make it stick. Obviously you need to have the car and but the key thing I think is to have the confidence in your car.
And this is you. I mean, you play dare with the wall. You carry so much speed through it, and it's so easy to make a simple mistake, as you say, over the Anderson Bridge there. Do you watch this back after a race? Will you go and see some of this and think? Oh,
usually I watch the others. I don't watch myself, but I do a lot of comparisons with other people and watch them. And see whether there's something to gain in terms of line, approach. So usual suspects, obviously you look at, the people you believe you can learn most from, and the people who, in the worst case go quicker than you. Obviously there have been quite a couple this year, so I've been looking at a lot of videos this year.
Well, let's talk about this year then, because, I've been standing alongside racetracks for 30 years in F1, and I know what I've seen these last few years of your speed and of your skill. And what's happened? What's happened in 2014 that's changed?
Well, I think first of all we didn't have the smoothest season so far. We had a lot of issues, but other than that, I think I'm not yet where I want to be in terms of manipulating the car the way I want to. In terms of when we talk, especially around a track like here, in terms of confidence and being able to just make it stick and believing it's there. So it's a good, let's say, mix of that. So obviously the cars have changed a lot. You had to adapt, which I think for a racing driver is not unusual, but just it seems that we're not yet able to extract that extra bit of performance that we've been able to extract the years before.
But you have to adapt to over the years, wet to dry, full tanks to empty tanks.
So that I think that's nothing new. So I had enough time by now with the new generation of cars, and I'm not blaming it on that. So there's still obviously some bits that I think we can do better. On the other hand, I think the season has been so far quite compromised in terms of, if you look at the raw results and the pace we had, it's not always that fair. But that's how it is sometimes.
What are you missing most from last year's car when you're attacking a 90-degree corner like that? What would you like now that you had then?
Grip would be the stupid answer to give, and the simple one, but I think it's just, you know, the confidence, especially in the first part of the corner, to be able to rotate and position the car. So as good as probably we were able to in the last couple of years. So that basically you have the confidence, and you, as I said, you make it stick, knowing it's be there. Obviously, every time I try this year, you know, you do what you think is right and you do what you think is quickest, just like all the other years. But it's not coming as natural maybe as the years before.
So what I understand you saying there is one of the advantages you had was the incredible speed you could take to the apex, and this car won't live with that.
Not as good as the last couple of years, let's put it this way. But it's a combination of things. It's not, you know, it's not saying, okay, we lost downforce, we lost blown exhaust. It's not that. It's a combination of things. Obviously, tires are worse this year. They're just a step harder. The cars have less grip. The way nowadays power unit and its components work with each other.
You say that very with a derogatory tone.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, which would be just stupid to explain to people, because that's not what they want to hear. They want to, you know, see us driving and racing. But it has, you know, there's small things that have an impact, and it's all that together, which I think we are still learning a lot. But the progress we've made, you know, makes me very confident that we will be getting there.
Can you get to love these cars, do you think? These new
it's still Formula One, so it's there's no quicker option. If there was, maybe you would think about you know, doing something else. But yeah, you know, it's on the other hand, we have a lot more sliding this year. We have a different a different formula. So you know, it's also other things that you enjoy. I mean, one thing I don't enjoy when I hear this is the sound of this year, but that's, I think I've mentioned that many times now, so I'll leave it there.
I think you have. It's got its positives and its negatives, but it's not all been bad this year. We invited Mr. Alonso along to tell us his side of this Silverstone story, and I'm really delighted that you're here now to take us through it from your perspective. Help yourself.
Yeah, so that's turn 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So I tried to get the exit right here. Obviously very difficult being behind him, and especially now losing the downforce. I had a bit of a snap. So I think that's the first one he was complaining about.
Yes, he complained about
Obviously,
that.
if you could just pause again. There was you know, a lot of talks about you know, going across the white line, blah blah blah. And when my team told me, when Rocky told me that respect the track limits, I knew exactly where it was coming from. Obviously, Fernando started to complain. And I thought, bloody hell, they must have some really good, you know, HD or 4K quality mirrors, because you can, you know, really see everything. But, you know, obviously now he's on track, but there were examples also where he went wide, and then we started this stupid counting bit, you know, one against the other. But fine, I tried to stay as close as possible. As you saw, I had a bit of a snap. I tried to stay on the gas to stay close.
It's true. I said to him, really, Fernando, you could see that at that speed? He said, no problem at all.
And then I get the toe, now get the DRS. He was blocking the inside, went around the outside. And that, I think, from him, stop. I was complaining about that, because that is a bit of a suicide move. If I don't pull back, because I had the opportunity to... Exactly. So what I do is I brake later, I'm in front of him, and the car in front dictates the line.
Yeah.
If I then stay on line so that I come out here, just on the curb, with the speed he then decides to pick up again coming off the brakes, because initially he was braking earlier, he would just run into me. So I wasn't happy with that, because if I don't avoid the crash by, you know, braking more and slowing down, he would just run into me. So that's, I think, fairly clear when you look how quickly then he reappears if you go back again and play it again. But on the other hand, you know, that's racing. So
yeah, I don't want to do too much he said, she said, but no. I said to him, did he think that was fair? And he said it was on the limit, and that he spoke to you about it.
He didn't. But again, you know, that's racing. It is on the limit, but fine.
And look at that. That's pretty damn close, isn't it?
yeah, obviously I tried to get as close as possible. He had a bit of a wobble in the corner before, so that I could really, go into the inside and get sort of next to him.
Are you doing that on purpose? Are you trying to scare him a little bit? Are you trying to push him out?
I was, on the limit in terms of making my exit as tight as possible, but still keeping the speed up. Because I knew that could be a chance for the next corner, which we see now.
Okay,
and I'm using all my energy, which brings me next to him, but then I'm running out of my energy.
You mean the extra battery power?
Extra power.
And what are you thinking now?
And then he comes back.
Put us inside that helmet of yours, which is a different colour every day, but put us inside that particular crash helmet.
What I was thinking is probably... Peep, I've been spending so many laps behind him. I need to get past him now. I need to pass him now. This is my chance, and I won't back off.
Whatever happens, you're just going to keep your foot.
Whatever happened. I mean,
yeah.
I saw that I was, side by side. I know that he saw me. He knew I was still there, so I go for it.
Yeah, and then it works a treat. And then on the outside,
again,
he complains about that.
Yeah, so obviously I was taking a lot of risk into the corner in terms of, because I wasn't sure whether he would go with me side by side. I was surprised when he actually backed off and decided, okay, you've won the corner. And then I ran a bit wide, but I mean...
That's kind of fair enough at 190 miles an hour on the inside of a blind right-hand corner. I would have thought. Okay, let's move.
So you would have gone wide as well.
I'd have been over here towards Northampton somewhere with my foot flat down. But actually, no, I wouldn't have done, because that would have been gravel and even catch fence in the bad old days.
Yeah,
they would have finished you off. So let's bring it back to the rest of this season. Daniel Ricciardo, you're out qualifying him quite often, especially recently. But when Mercedes-Benz have left some food on the table while they've been busy looking at each other, it's Daniel that's come and grabbed it. Why has he done that?
Well, as you mentioned, I think first of all, towards in qualifying and speed, we are getting obviously back to where we've been. So we're making progress. Whereas in the beginning of the year we were sort of struggling in the race. It just didn't come together yet. As you mentioned, when there was things to benefit from, obviously he was in a strong position. He drove good races as well, with all the respect to him. He deserved to win those races. I think in, Spa and Hungary and Canada, it was quite close in terms of, how the race evolved. In Spa, he was clearly quicker and he deserved to win. I didn't have the speed. I was not able to look after the tyres as well as I wanted, and just wasn't as quick as he was, full stop. Why? I think we've been working on that, the whole season, and we've been working on that after Spa especially. And yes, we've made some progress, but, it's not... You'd want to find this one solution that, solves all your problems, but there's a lot of small things and the small steps that you have to take.
Let's just take a look at Monza, if we can. Talk us through this. He's got fresher tyres than you have by 7 laps. He's got fresher tyres than you by 7 laps. He comes down the outside.
To talk to you anymore, to be honest. Just look if you want to see what happens. No, I think obviously, the first time when I saw him catching, I tried to go down the inside, tried to defend. I realized that out of the corner he has quite strong traction. Again, I tried to just defend, but by there I know already that under braking has got me covered anyways. Then he does a bit of a move to go, back to the inside, but realistically I was already, giving up around Curva Grande, because I know that if I keep fighting into the next corner, into the next corner, into the next lap, I'll only make my tires a lot worse than they already are. And probably then the McLarens, the Force India, they're going to be all over me and pass me as well, and I lose more positions than I've gained by defending one off.
Words in the press. You've got a contract for next year, but are you going to Ferrari? Any comment on that?
Last week I was going to McLaren, so I don't know. Next week maybe Mercedes.
Let's talk about Red Bull then, because you're 27. Next year in the Red Bull stream coming through is Max Verstappen, who's just 17. And in no time at all, you've gone from the young kid on the Friday practices, haven't you, to being the elder statesman of that chain.
I wouldn't say no time at all. I think we've done pretty good the last couple of years. But it's normal, you age. just, like you've aged as well. I mean,
A lot.
If I look at pictures of you, when you were driving and now.
Thanks. Touché.
So, yeah, but, the most important thing, I think, forget the age, is the fact that I love racing. I've obviously been racing a lot different than last year, especially the second half this year than previously. But I love racing. I love competing, wheel-to-wheel racing, and I love winning. Obviously, that's the one that's missing this year, but we're working very hard on that to come back.
Adrian Newey leaving sort of the day-to-day aspect of being involved with the team. Are you concerned about that?
Not really. I think Adrian is a racer, and right now I think it's obviously a bit tricky for him to be creative because, if you look back realistically, unfortunately what people have done is they've cut our
advantages.
Yes. It's tricky when you speak on TV, in English. Obviously I'm racing for an English team, but the language you use there is slightly different, let's say. It's a bit more straightforward and rough than here. So they've cut our advantages and obviously cut Adrian's creativity in that regard. So I think that's why maybe he has the need to do something else. But in the end, he's a racer and he loves racing. And the moment I think he feels that there's something he can do and something we can do better than others, then he'll be up for it.
You think he'll be back? A new chassis this weekend, another new chassis. Is it going to bring back
the first new one, actually?
Is it? So you've
the
had
other one were used ones.
So a brand spanking. Is it going to bring back the Vettel magic this weekend?
It's chassis number 5. We've painted the 5 inside the chassis red. So red 5. Exactly.
Are you a Mansell fan then?
Yeah. He was a killer. So let's hope the car is a killer as well.
Excellent. So, and finally, they've changed team radio, so we're not going to hear quite as much of Rocky and you having almost like a Sunday afternoon conversation, like you're watching TV with your feet up, drinking a beer.
Unfortunately, though, I think I don't sound like that when I'm on the radio. I think it comes when I heard, in playback, it sounds like quite high pitch.
Well, maybe your seatbelts are too tight or something.
Yeah, maybe that's no. I make sure there's enough room, but I think partly I can understand because it got a bit childish, to be honest, when people start to give us advices about braking 3 meters later and scrubbing a bit more apex curb in turn 8. And I think I understand the impression people got in terms of, they tell them how to drive. Just what's the point? They're supposed to decide on their own. But there's a lot of other messages as well, which we require to keep the car running.
It's a complex car, isn't it?
Exactly. And if that's gone, I don't know how it's going to be. So let's see.
You were right.
Yeah.
It's my son. Look at the badges. My wife used to sew my badges on my F1 overalls.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Proper days.
Yeah. And I'm not sure I got any money for any of it. Look, my name would have been worth a few million today, that space, wouldn't it? And the great Murray Walker.
Yeah. See, no grey hair.
Thanks.
I think it's the television job.
It's trying to catch up with people like you.
Yeah.